welcome. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you, Gary.
I guess a good place to start then is the start. I mean, Pitch Black as we know it, where did it really start? How did you guys kind of meet and decide it was going to make music?
We met at a party in a warehouse in Grey Lynn, and a mutual friend of ours thought that we should chat. And so she said, Mike, Paddy, meet Paddy, Mike. You guys should talk. And
yeah, you guys have to talk about music, and then she turned and walked away. And
so we chatted, yeah. And I got very disillusioned about the music scene because my music was mixed from the mixing desk in front of house.
Yep.
And I put visuals on stage, and I was touring like that and playing before bands like Salmonella Dub and doing stuff on the road, but I was finding that every time I tried to play, the other people would like turn up the house lights or the roadies would change. You know, I couldn't, from being on the front of house trying to do my thing, because I wasn't on stage, I didn't sort of exist, and that no one could sort of comprehend that idea. And so I'd sort of given up and gone off and done other things and been mixing other bands and things and doing music, but not really touring anymore. And when I met Paddy, it was like an opportunity to sort of turn that around and create a stage-based AV dub experience that could be done from stage as opposed to being done from front of house, which is something I haven't really considered because I don't really like being on stage. So yeah, there was a real excitement for me meeting Paddy, who had the development of all of this non-linear delivery of electronic music, and I'd had my development of non-linear AV and dubbing, and so we suddenly realised that we both basically came from the same place in the way we like to deliver music, sound, performance, video, however you want to describe it. And so we started working together and down at Paddy's studio, and something clicked, and I think within 3 months we played at the Gathering or something after meeting.
Something like that.
With 2 songs.
Yeah. 2 20-minute songs. I had at the time, this would have been 95, I think. Maybe, 95?
Yeah, or maybe 96.
Yeah. I had a studio in that part of the thing, that building that's now part of the university in Shortland Street. It was then York Street B. It was the Kenneth Myers Centre. And I was subletting a room out of there, and I had my studio set up, and at this party we got talking, and Mike said that he had a 20-minute track, a 20-minute dubbed sort of jam that he needed to cut down to 5 or 6 minutes for a On the Beaten Track compilation, and they were a bunch of compilations that Andrew Penman from Salmonella Dub put out of mainly South Island electronica, sort of the early to mid 90s. He put out a few of them, and so I said, yeah, I've got a studio if you want to come and work on this. And so Mike brought in his 20-minute track, and I sort of did some edits on it and some overdubs, and sort of we got it cut down, and it still went out under his name, The Projector Mix, which was sort of Mike's AV and music production moniker, wasn't it? And I'd seen Mike doing his AV, doing his video mixing with a stack of VHS players and a mixing desk at gigs around town, but I'd never met him before. But I knew him by reputation.
Yeah, I used to tour like a DJ would, except with a great big box of 60 15-minute VHS tapes. Yeah. So in a stack of. And you had
I remember your wardrobe had about 300 VHSs.
So. As a VJ, wishing I could do it on a computer, which I hadn't worked out how to. It was quite cool to be able to just you just have loops on tapes. It was the same as beat matching video with songs the DJs were doing, but doing it on videotape. Yeah, so we after that session, because I've even though we were both using samplers, I was using them to take sound effects and put them into the sampler and turn them into sound. And I'd never done synthesis before, so I'd never really, I'd heard the noises in music, but it never really occurred to me that you could actually make them. And so I guess the thing that's worked for both Paddy and I for 13 years is I come from one place and Paddy comes from another place, and we sort of slam our ideas together, and out of that sort of collision of concept, we end up with our music. And it's been that way since day one, and it's still that way now. You got to you got to convince the other party that your idea is strong enough to go into a track. And
Yeah.
because we've both got our solo projects and our other things we do, you don't have to be as precious about some stuff that doesn't make it in, because you've got there's other avenues and ways to do it. So yeah, so what was that? 96. Yeah. So then the gathering. I think the gathering had been. I think the first one had happened. I'd been in train before that. Then there'd been one gathering. I think
No,
we'd
it
gone
was
to his
the first.
punters. That was the first.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was up
Oh
in
no,
Cannons.
no, that was the first. It was the
Yeah.
first, yeah.
So we got offered this little half-hour slot, and so we went up and we had the mixing desk off to the side. There wasn't even an even live dub, and we just sat there and played keys and triggered stuff, and then we were like, at the end of it, we were like, well, that worked really well, but why was the mixing desk off to the side of stage? And and then we played again about 30 days later at a gig in K Road, where we really actually did the same set, but with the mixing desk and all the live stubs and everything, and that sort of brought it all together.
Because at the time, was there anyone else doing that with the dubs on stage, or was it?
Oh, there would have been
doing?
over in Jamaica. Or
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess there was a little period from about that period, maybe for 2 years. It was just before CDRs. I think actually it was just before CDRs really came out.
Yeah.
And a lot of electronic musicians were actually getting to the point where they were prepared to break their studio down, stick it in a car, drive it across town or to the other island or to wherever, set it all up, run out a stereo mix and do live. And there was this moment where you really felt that the whole thing was going to explode and there was just going to be hundreds of live electronic acts. And then the CDR came out and people went, hang on a minute, I'm getting paid
Far too much effort.
I'm getting paid $50 or $250 to turn up and play a gig, and it just isn't, my gear's dying and it's too much of a hassle, and it sounds like shit on stage and I can't control the environment.
Yep.
And it was almost like 2 years later it just died. And suddenly there was almost no one going out and doing that. People were just turning up and DJing their stereo tracks that they'd mixed in their bedrooms.
I can remember one specific gig in Hamilton put on by a crew called Corso. It was a party called Ambulance, and there were no less than 10 live electronica acts back to back for about it was been an 8-hour party, right through the night, and never before, never since.
Yeah, there was a lot of enthusiasm, I think, at this little moment where the beginning, when Cog was going. There was a lot of excitement that there was this new thing, and people were turning up to the gigs, and the gigs were full, and it was our own sort of moment to have our rave culture, I suppose, but in warehouse rave culture.
Yeah.